morning, viewers, from wherever you're watching us from. This is the This Morning program coming to you live here on QTV. And I am Julde Njai. Many thanks indeed for the pleasure of your company. And this morning, I am joined by two gentlemen. And I know it's going to be really interesting because they are like the brain of this institution. They are behind everything. I have Mr. Drame, who is my co-host. And of course, I have Malika, who is our newspaper review guest. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Julde, and yeah, still deputizing. I don't know whether I'm deputizing for Balde or Jennifer Sonko, but I'm deputizing for somebody. It's always great to be here.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr.
Good
Khan.
morning. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure, as always, to come and join the conversation with Ade, and we share the platform, agree to disagree, and make it really interesting.
Indeed.
Right, and this morning, just a quick reminder to inform people that Gabon, you know that they have been in their elections recently, but unfortunately, this morning, we received information that the soldiers announced that they are apparently going to take over the country, just like in other countries. So we will take a look at the announcement of the soldiers, and we'll be right back to discuss more on these.
After noting an irresponsible, unpredictable governance which results in a continuous deterioration of social cohesion that risks leading the country to chaos, today, the 30th of August 2023, in the name of the Gabonese people, we, the Committee of the Transition and the Restoration of Institutions, have decided to defend the peace, putting an end to the regime in place. To this end, the general elections of August 26, 2023, as well as the results, are cancelled. The borders of the country are closed until further notice. All the institutions of the Republic are dissolved. The government, the Senate, the National Assembly, the Constitutional Court. We call on the population for calm and serenity, and we affirm our attachment to the respect of Gabon's commitments to the international community.
Apparently, the August 26 elections are cancelled, according to the army. ECOWAS is battling with the Niger issue, and that is not resolved yet. And the African continent is, witnessing another coup d'etat in Gabon. And the election was just a few days ago, which is really crazy. Now you wonder what is really happening in this continent, coup d'etats upon coup d'etats and all that. But many people are arguing that, okay, this particular family has been there for like so many years, so many decades. That is the reason why many people are saying that I think they should really leave and then allow other people to rule. It's like a family setup. It's like a kingdom. It's run as a kingdom sort of, not like, yeah.
It's not the first African country that can be said, of which that can be said. Gabon, he took over from his father, Omar Bongo, and Ali Ben Bongo is the current president. He had a stroke about, I said 2 years when we were off air, but I think it's 3 years ago. So he's partially paralyzed, and yet he still wanted to carry on. Earlier this year, when elections were coming up, there was a thought that because he'd been ill, he might stand down, but tens of thousands descended upon the presidential palace, begging him to stand again, which I thought was nonsense, really, and he should have said no. And had he said no, who knows, this might have been averted. We don't know, it might have been. But the election was contested very, very keenly. And actually, if you listened and watched some of the reports last week saying that he stood a very good chance of losing for the first time. There was a possibility that he might lose. And so when the Electoral Commission announced that he had won, they were shocked. There was dismay, and we don't know, but this is probably what has led to this. They shut down the internet for 3 days. They started arresting opposition party leaders. And what they did was, I said in the office, I'll hand over to Mr. Kai in a minute, this morning I said that they did a Gambia, because just as Gambia did a coalition and went for Adama Barrow to contest against they did in the same in Gabon. You had about 9 political parties came together, chose one candidate as the main candidate to contest. And as I said, for many people, they thought he had won. but the Electoral Commission announced otherwise. Well, Mr. Carr, you and I, we've discussed coup d'etats.
Yeah,
Here we are again.
This is the dilemma that is confronting the Africans, and this is the conversation that is happening all over. The role of the military and the weak institutions and self-perpetuation in power of some of these people. And this has given the justification or the invite for the military to intervene. The issue would be the military, are they Republican armies that have intervened with sincerity to the extent that they come to defend, you know, and abrogate the perpetuation that these people commit. If that is the case, they don't have to stay long in power. They will create an atmosphere, a level playing field for a transition. If that was happening, then everybody would be happy. The sad thing would be if they cling onto power and start oppressing the people, because when you abrogate all the constitution and everything, all the institutions, then the people do not have their word anymore. Yes, the people in this instance, I'm sure a lot of people would jubilate, they will celebrate.
We've seen it already.
You cannot have a family perpetuating themselves for more than almost 60 years in power. This is a de facto monarchy. And it's unacceptable in this day and age. That is why it's important for governments to be very aware and impose term limits so that we can avert the pretext that the military uses to intervene in national politics.
In Niger, in Zimbabwe recently, the election also, they shut down internet and all of that.
It's become a popular tactic by governments.
Exactly, for the ruling parties in Africa. And I think this should really be addressed in the African continent. It's like really, I'm really perplexed as to the number of coup d'etats that is really happening of recent in the African continent.
They all have,
you wonder what is really behind this.
Yes, because I was going to say they all have different reasons or excuses, whatever you. If you go to Niger, we're talking about Niger, you can't say that Bazoum was somebody who was perpetuating himself. He'd only been there in 2 years. And yet we have something at the other end of the spectrum you have here. And of course, I mean, kind of jokingly or semi-seriously, I should say, people are already discussing where next in Africa. You have people like, Paul Biya in Cameroon, 42 years. You have Museveni this year, I think, will make his 40th year. Equatorial Guinea. You have Paul Kagame in Rwanda. All of these people have been there for more than 30 years, at the head of government. And so, this is something that I think needs to be addressed. But yeah, I mean, Malik, we've talked about this in the past. We've discussed it many times. Each coup comes with its own package of reasons. And, I was even going to tease the viewers this morning by starting by saying my fellow citizens. But, you say that now in Africa and everybody starts running, oh no, has there been another coup d'etat?
But by and large, where it's justified, the people would know.
Sure.
And they can tell. In the case of Niger, it was very difficult to present a case because the guy was just there for 2 years. And therefore, the moral justification is absent.
Sure.
There has to be that moral justification for the army to intervene, where there is excessive oppression, extrajudicial killings, and all these things happening, being perpetuated by a government, then that government will lose its authority or its moral
standing
to rule the people. But in the case of Cameroon and Gabon and Equatorial Guinea and all these things, if it happens, the population in Africa would tend to celebrate. Because these people have been there since, God knows.
Well, this is it. I mean, you mentioned Equatorial Guinea, which is, of course, where our former president is kind of hiding out. And exactly what has happened in Gabon is what is being played out in Equatorial Guinea. The president is grooming his son to take over. His son is already vice president and already minister of several ministries. And there's no doubt that he's planning to hand over to his son. And this is exactly the kind of thing, again, like Gabon, another oil-rich country.
Uganda is grooming the son as well. This is what we are saying. These things have to change. Because we live in a sovereign state, and therefore the people ought to determine or decide. But you cannot create a structured system that will favor one family and then justify it by having regular elections every 5 years and say that it's a democrat. Sometimes it's a farce, and people can see behind the farce that this is not genuine and it's not true. Therefore, it can invite the military to intervene in these situations.
Absolutely.
And that is why it's a conversation that the Africans must have.
Yeah, it's an unending conversation. And now you wonder where this really plays the ECOWAS. They're already battling with the issue of Niger and other countries in Africa. So they're really in a very critical stage right now.
I mean, ECOWAS got nothing to do with Gabon. It's in Central Africa. But, you know, it does raise the question of, you know, are there other countries in West Africa that are vulnerable to this type of thing? And really, no country now or no president can relax and say, yeah, you know, everything's cool, everything's fine. And a lot of these, if you look at it, and we're saying there are different courses, but in a lot of them you'll see instances where the constitution has been fiddled with to suit somebody. That's happened in Guinea-Conakry. Even we go as far to back to Zimbabwe. When the constitution was changed to make Mugabe executive president, he was the first executive president, and that came with special powers. It allowed him to be head of government, head of state, head of the army, and it also gave him the power to annul parliament without reference to anybody, and lots and lots of other powers. And for the first time, it said that he could be president for life. So when you change the constitution on behalf of one person, my God, that person must be really special. But people resent it because, you know, what if the person who comes after him is not as good, you know, considering you thought that person was good? You've given them the same rights and the same power.
There are two forms of coup d'etats, and that's what Ade have just explained very clearly. And one is more obvious than the other, but they equally have the same impact in terms of, you know, taking away the rights of the people and then self-perpetuating. And that is the whole objective, to be there and continue being there until such a time that you can pass the baton onto your children, as if it were something that is, you know, your family ownership. And no particular family should own a country.
And even next door in Senegal, Abdoulaye Wade, had he been there, he would have handed over to his son.
Absolutely.
No two ways about it.
So with that, we will go for a short commercial break. When we return, the program continues. So stay tuned.
It's been at the forefront of our lives, and the way we use it has evolved drastically over the years. With the advent of 5G internet, we are entering a new era of technological innovation that promises to transform the way we live, work, and play. 5G internet is capable of providing data speeds up to 100 times faster than 4G, making it the ideal solution for streaming high-quality videos, playing online games, and downloading large files on the go. 5G internet is already transforming cities across the globe, powering smart cities, self-driving cars, and virtual reality experiences that were once thought impossible. 5G internet is also paving the way for Internet of Things, allowing for seamless connectivity between devices and the creation of a truly connected world. For the first time in the Gambia, QCell is bringing tomorrow's technology to you today with the launch of QCell 5G Internet. Get ready to experience the out-of-this-world wonders of QCell's 5G Internet. For more information, call 111. QCell. We innovate, others follow.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is This Morning program coming to you live on QTV, and we were talking about the issue of Gabon and the military takeover there, and of course in other West African countries as well. What is at stake? Why are these coup d'etats really happening in the African continent? And you know, most of these coup d'etats, they happen in African countries which have really huge natural resources, and a lot is at stake. Mr. Ade.
Gabon's got oil.
Yeah.
You know, Niger has uranium, some of the biggest uranium deposits in the world, something that the rest of the world really wants. And what is ironic is that these are resource-rich countries, and yet they're not countries where you see the populace benefiting from this. I mean, Niger even has to rely on Nigeria for much of its electricity, which is a nonsense, really. That should not be the case. They should be able to, by now, have even installed, you know, solar panels across the country to generate electricity. They shouldn't have to be dependent on. So a lot of it has been, the resources have been mismanaged, Yes, there haven't been a coup d'etat in Equatorial Guinea, but that's another oil-rich country where the president's son can have 14 luxury cars, and yet people are starving, and people, and you know, the infrastructure is very poor in the country. It's really quite shocking. And when people have these ostentatious displays of wealth in the midst of poverty, that's what creates resentment. And like we said, you know, there's no two ways about it. The president in Equatorial Guinea is planning to hand over to his son, and we'll see what comes of that. But that could be another potential flashpoint.
You know, what is happening in Africa is we have a youthful population that is more educated than before and more progressive in terms of outlook and more demanding. So this is a new phenomenon that the old vanguard is faced with. They have a youthful population, very critical, and they are conscious of what we have. And we recognize that in most African countries, if not all, we have some form of natural resource that should be equitably distributed to the population. But we see an uneven type of development where it is just balanced towards one particular group. So what you have is class dynamics. And that type of strata or type of social structure that exists creates that resentment. And therefore that filters into the mindset of the army as well. Because they also see these civilians living the life of luxury. And some of them want to live that type of life. They want to, because they are very close with them. They guard them, they move around with them, they travel with them. So they have their eyes on the way that these people live. So that is what invites them sometimes to intervene. But Africa must address the issue of poverty. It must address the issues. We cannot live in this day and age and see the people living in certain conditions, deprived of certain most basic of things. So this conversation must be something that they must recognize and also work towards rectifying. Otherwise, the issues, the underlying problems will always be there, and there will always be the fracturing of our own societies.
And Malik also mentioned earlier in his first interjection, he mentioned weak institutions in Africa. I mean, one of the reasons why we have coup d'etats in Africa is because everything is so centralized. All you have to do is go to the national studios and announce that you've taken over. Can you imagine that happening in England? No, because they decentralize everything, including the military. You know, so you take over London, doesn't mean you've taken over England. It doesn't mean you've taken over the United Kingdom. But in most of our countries, you take over the capital city, you take over the national broadcaster, that's it, you're in charge. In England, there are broadcasters across the world, the country rather, that belong to BBC, ITV, all the other ones. And in terms of government, the police, the army, they're spread out across the country. You'd have to take over all of those regions to take over in a country like England. Because in other countries in Europe where they don't have that, Spain, Portugal, they had coup d'etats in the 60s, you know, because they had that centralized thing. And so, as you said, you know, when you have weak institutions and systems that are not decentralized, it's very, very easy to take over.
And also institutions are people. It's people that will defend the values. And if you see what happened in Turkey, when they overthrew Erdogan, it was the people that rose and said, it's not going to happen. This is protecting the institutions. Once you have people, you know, develop to that extent that they will defend the justifiably and then oppose the unjust, then we are ready. Then institutions are matured. Because institutions do not operate in a vacuum. People must understand their rights and also be able to defend and protect it by doing that. So it's important that we educate the people. Civic education is very important to enlighten the people to the extent that they will know what their rights are, what the rights and what the purpose and objectives of these institutions are, so that they can be the last bastion to defend and protect the democratic norms and values of that country.
Absolutely. Okay, now we will move to the African proverb, Mr. Adi. I know the conversation is really interesting.
It's a lovely one. It deserves a program all of its own, and it might get it just as we've done with Niger. Who knows? But the proverb reads, and I love it, it says, do not try to fight a lion if you are not one yourself. Do not try to fight a lion if you are not one yourself? Malik, I'll come to you.
You have to have courage to stand up to something. If you faint-hearted, do not stand up. You know, if you don't have courage, don't stand up to challenge and defend something. So therefore, it has to be in you for you to have that courage to be able to stand and defend something. Sure. Lack of courage leads to failure. So you have to be a lion in this instance to really fight a lion. You cannot be a goat and confront a lion.
Julde, what's your take on it?
All right, my take, for me, I think you can't really, you have to preach what you do. You can't really preach goodness, and when you're the opposite of goodness, or you can't preach modesty when you yourself, you are not really modest. Whatever you're doing, try to make sure that you're really deserving of that, and people will not raise eyebrows, you know, when you try to preach something that you're not. But if not, you will try to preach something that you're not. For instance, in our African governments, oftentimes they say, okay, we're fighting corruption, we're fighting this, we're fighting that, when obviously everybody knows that it is really rampant in, you know, the African government.
So how does that relate to this?
It relates, like, do not fight a lion if you are not one yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't really fight a cause if you don't believe in that particular cause, or you are not living up to that cause. So that is why I relate this to the issue of corruption in Africa. Oftentimes we hear our leaders say, okay, corruption is this, we will fight corruptions. And when you see that it is really visible everywhere, there is corruption everywhere. So that is why whatever you are preaching or whatever you believe in, before you preach it to people, make sure that you are really enforcing it, you're living it, but not just talking about it. And then at the end of the day, you hear people come to you, and because you will have yourself to blame at the end of the day, because people will come at you and say, you're saying this, but you're not really practicing it in real life. So I believe that at that lion, if you really want to fight that lion, you have to be that lion yourself. What you preach should be what you believe in and what you live.
Okay, I mean, my interpretation is somewhat different.
Okay.
Do not try to fight a lion if you're not one yourself. I see it as not in the kind of literal sense of fighting a lion, as you've not taken it in the literal sense. But I take it as kind of fight battles where you think you can win. Don't fight battles you don't think you can win. If you are a lion, you'll challenge another lion. And just in a work situation, if you want to counter something that somebody said, make sure you have the evidence to counter as strongly as whatever they're going to come at you with. And if you're fighting a case, whether it's in court or whatever, make sure you have the evidence to actually fight the battle. So, you know, pick your battles wisely. Don't pick battles that you know you're going to lose. So yeah, well, that's my interpretation.
Absolutely.
But you're an interesting one. And from Mali too. Yeah.
Okay.
But,
so let's now shift to our newspaper review. I know that the newspaper review often, like all these days, we've been talking about contemporary issues that are happening in the Gambia. And, you know, we were talking about infrastructure, roads, construction, drainage systems in the Gambia. That is what this morning does. We discuss issues and then, you know, allow people to have a conversation around those issues. And this time around, we are shifting our attention a little bit more to renting in the Gambia. I mean, the rainy season, everybody is talking about it, and it's really difficult now. Of course, we have the laws, they are there, but we always say the implementation bit is always lacking.
So implementation of what exactly? You've lost me. Renting?
Yeah.
Okay, explain.
We have a Rent Act in the Gambia, but has it been implemented?
And
If
enforced,
the act
you mean?
exists,
Enforced.
then
You mean?
it's left to the people.
So who's not, who's breaking it? Landlords? And if so, in what way?
I mean, it's like a chain sorrow, because now we have these agents who are coming on board. And oftentimes
they've
people
always been there.
Exactly. No, before it used to be landlords, and the advent of the agents. Exactly, the advent of the agent just came recently, where every landlord would have to entrust his or her house to a particular agent who will sell the house and all that. So, but now the problem is these rental issues, where people are forced to pay maybe 6 months, 1 year deposit, and also security deposit, and also you have to pay the agent in turn. So all these issues are really disturbing people. So the laws are there, but the implementation part of it, I think the agents have taken over the market.
So when you say the laws are there, and so is there anything in the law that says one cannot employ an agent? If the law doesn't say you cannot, then nobody's breaking the law.
It's not been regulated. My point is, it's not been regulated, Mr. Ade, because, for instance, they don't follow the standards. For instance, if you have a 2-bedroom house, and he has a 2-bedroom house, you can decide to say, okay, I'm renting it for 10,000. He can say, I'm renting it for 5,000. But whether the standards are there, that particular regulation bit, that is what I'm talking about.
Let me help you on this, Julie.
Yeah.
I think, as far as I'm aware, it's a free market, I presume.
I was going to say.
And if there is legislation, it is the tenants or people that are affected that should go to the courts, because there is a rent tribunal that is established. Yeah. And you have rightly said that there is a rent act, or an act that governs tenants and landlords. So it must be spelled out in law as to what your rights are and where the limitation of the landlord's rights are as well. If that is defined, I confess I did not read the Rent Act, so I'm not. Okay. But if that is there and it exists, it is the responsibility of the tenant, or they can form even a tenant association kind of, in order to look into this so that they can make a class act, go and challenge. But in terms of how much 2-bedroom will cost, I think there are different factors that may come into play. The area and the facilities and all these things, I don't know. But then it is the duty of the tenants, if they feel that they are wronged one way or the other, to take them to the rent tribunal. Okay. And there we can pass judgment to say the rent tribunal, whatever verdict they have decided, is that implemented or not? Then you can say there is no implement. If they give you your rights, you must not sit on your rights. You have to take your rights. So therefore, that will be executed, I presume.
Yeah,
so,
as Malik says, if it's an open market, a free market, I have a property, I can charge what I want. Who doesn't want to pay for it, they can go and pay somewhere else. It's as simple as that. You know, I'm not forcing you to come and rent from me. If you don't like what I'm charging...
But your rights are defined in terms of standards.
You know, absolutely, that's my point.
Like, yeah, but if you live in a property that you rent and the standards are poor, then you can go to the courts.
Yeah, because if the act exists, the act must say, if this happens, you can do this. So what is the this that people are not doing? Are they not taking the landlords to the court? Are they not taking the agents to the court? And if not, why not? You know, you have to ask those questions.
What
maybe
you could have said maybe the rent tribunal is slow, it's not
working,
it's not working, then you can look into those things. But the fact that it exists, it is there to arbitrate, they must also take, you have to be litigious. Go and take them to court and test if you are feeling, offended.
Or get some of these civil society organizations to take up the cause and say, look, this is a really, because you've mentioned it, because you said a lot of people are bothered by it. That's why you've mentioned it. And you said that, there are people that, effectively, you didn't use the word, but they're probably abusing the system. Agents and so on, they're charging whatever they want, and you pay them a fee, you pay the landlord a fee, you pay a deposit and so on. Okay, does the law say they cannot do that? If the law says they cannot do that, go to one of these CSOs and say, look, this is something we think you should take up and you should challenge on behalf of tenants everywhere.
Now, now you have the duty as a reporter to go to the rent tribunal and find out what is happening there. Rather than speculate, then you will know.
No. It's an issue. Like I said, it's not a speculation. It's a reality that's going on. So are they assigning
her to go to the rent tribunal?
It's a reality that's going on. It's not a speculation. If you go even here, if you ask people who are renting, they will tell you thousands of stories.
Do you know how many people there are in the Gambia?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not necessarily
now
a speculation.
Make a full report, okay? Go to the rent tribunal, find out what is happening there, invite them on the TV. Let's have the conversation.
Yeah, that is why I raised this issue, so that we can have the conversation around that. Exactly, so that we can have a conversation around that. But eventually, we will get to have them and then see what we've gone wrong, what needs to be adjusted, and all of that. That is why we really raised it, because this is this morning platform where issues are raised and solutions are fine.
They always say be careful what you wish for. You might find out that they take these landlords to court and the tribunal says, in fact, landlord, you're not charging enough, you can charge more.
Which is a good...
So be careful what you wish for.
But it's good that people know really where the problem is.
But you as a journalist, just go and make your findings and come up with
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So with that, we will go for a short commercial break. Mr. Mr. Ka, we will have to take a leave of you.
Okay.
And the program continues. We'll take a short commercial break. When we return, the program continues, and we have NAWEC here to talk to us about, because we're in the rainy season and lots of things are happening in the country, and NAWEC also, like other institutions, have a big role to play, you know, in terms of sensitization, in terms of, you know, advising people to take precautionary measures during the rainy season and all of that, electricity and all that. So we will take a short break. When we return, the program continues.
The future is now with QCell's 5G network. Experience speeds like never before with our new 5G Rocket Fixed Internet plan. Get speeds from 10 Mbps to 100 Mbps. Your 5G-enabled devices. Walk into QCell headquarters to get one of our 5G routers and experience the true feeling of 5G. Only with QCell. QCell brings you the future. Tech, innovation, incredible speed. The future is now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
QCell brings you the future with our ultimate bundles. Enjoy the best voice and data bundle plans in one package. Get unlimited data packages with flexible validity and enjoy what true internet feels like. Get 30 minutes of on-net and off-net calls with 5 gigabytes of data for just $350. Or get bigger bundle packages from 10 gigabytes to 20 gigabytes with over 100 on-net and off-net voice calls and enjoy the fastest internet speed in the Gambia. You can also buy 1-day, 3-day or even 7-day packages and enjoy unlimited data bundles with uncapped speeds. Just dial *343# today and experience the limitless capabilities of the QCell network. *343# should be your favorite code to dial now. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, we innovate, others follow.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is the This Morning program coming to you live on QTV. And like I said, we have NAWEC, I guess from NAWEC, or the Communications and Public Relations Supervisor at NAWEC, Buba Baji, to talk to us about what they've been doing so far. NAWEC, we are in the rainy season, and of course, a lot of issues. People are confronted with lots of issues like, you know, on and off, here and there, you know, electricity shocks and all of that. So we get to talk to, you know, about all of these issues and come to a conclusion as to really what needs to be done to address some of these issues that are happening. Good morning, Mr. Baji, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Julia. Good morning, Mr. Ade. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for coming. Can we start possibly with the electrocution of the young girl?
Yeah, sure.
First of all, if you could tell us about that specific incident and also what lessons should be learned from it, because we've heard that there are certain things and precautions that people should take around that. But I just wondered if you would start with that incident, please.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's very unfortunate, because when life is lost, you can't compensate it anymore. Sure. And then it could have been avoided hadn't been the precautions were taken. What happened is we got a call from the area that a child was electrocuted, a girl child. And then a team was dispatched. By the time the team reached there, you know, she was rushed to the hospital but dead. Yeah, before they reached the hospital. And what we realized was that, you know, if we bring a service to your compound, what normally happens is we bring it up to your compound. The service pole in your compound is the responsibility of the landlord. Right. Now, this service pole unfortunately broke. Right. So the cables went down according to the parents of the girl or the landlord. Then they decided, instead of talking to NAWEC or informing us, they didn't do that, because if we were informed, what we normally do is we'll go and take out our cables until that is restored. Okay. Unfortunately, they didn't do that. There was this chemical pole just at the edge of their compound, which is also an iron pole, but transmitting only for this network, but not electricity. But now they took the electrical cable and then tied it up there with a binding wire. If you know, binding wire is iron. Yeah, of course. So for some, it was not like a week or it's more than a month. But this is not to our knowledge, because for now, our line is not visible to us, like looking at it on a platform where you can know this is happening, unless if we are told. Sure. So with the windstorms, the movement of the cable, then the wire got some scrape, and then it arted the Gamtel cable.
Right.
Because if it is the NAWEC cable, it would have not sucked the GAL, because all our poles are arted to the ground. So that anything happen, it goes to the ground instead of getting to the human part of it. So this girl, the small girl, was playing. When he touched that pole, then the pole was already arted. Then unfortunately, she got electrocuted. Yeah.
So in terms of lessons learned from it, what advice can you give the public about what to do when these sorts of things happen to avoid a similar tragedy like this?
Even if you have a tilt or bent, service pole or our pole or your pole, please just reach to NAWEC. Sure. For our pole, we will replace it immediately. Your pole, we will ask you to replace it. In doing so, we will take out the service wire, keep it at no cost until you are ready, then we'll come back and fix it. And if you tell your landlord, like what happened in this situation, they've been telling their landlord, unfortunately, he did not adhere to the call until this had happened. They could have called NAWEC and said, we have this situation, and now our cables are on the Gamtel line, which is not okay. Yeah. So what I will tell people is, always make sure that your service poles, you check them. Because the contract is, we give you the meter. But before we even install the meter, when we come, the first thing we observe is, we observe if there's a service pole. Is it a very good one? But all these things, maybe 4 years, 5 years, your service pole is old. And maybe somebody knock it, it's all possible. Sure.
But according to the landlord, NAWEC was informed
about it.
Yes.
No. In fact, this is what I heard this from the social media, one of the radio stations when he got interviewed. And then I called at the radio station and then to inform them that that is false. His first statement, because I first got the news through What's on Gambia. And then his interview with What's on Gambia is he been informing the landlord. Never did he mention that he have informed NAWEC. Right? In NAWEC, if you call the 1669, it's locked. If you call the bases like where he is, the tranquil base, it's 36642 78 or 3664094. When we went through that log, and then this is QCell, we can go there and check. When we check the logbook, there was no complaint within almost a month of that. So which means he didn't report to us. If you say I report to NAWEC, means you've talked to, not if you call the base, we log. I want people to understand this. If you call 1669, that is automatic, we log it. So we did not have, and immediately the base get it that a pole is there, they will go there straight. Spark, pole, a fallen pole, NAWEC don't wait for that, because it could be dangerous.
I have to say that where I live, I mean, not in that incident, but we had one where the pole caught fire, and to their credit, NAWEC were there the very next day. We reported it the very next day. They were there to repair it. So that's just on a personal level that I've had experience. And that's in the last 3 months I'm talking about. I'm not talking about some long ago thing. So, yeah, I mean, at least I know of that. So, what, Julia, anything else?
Yeah. So, the issue of on and off, people have been complaining of recent that on and off and all that. And sometimes it's really affecting people because we're in the rainy season and all of that. What do you think is the cause of that?
Thank you, Julia. On and off, I've been here for some time, but I can sit at this platform on record that it will be history very soon. If you remember, one time I did tell you what we have was a congested network and an wolf infrastructure. But thanks to the Gambia government, together with some of our funding agencies like World Bank, European Union, African Development Bank, since 2017, we've received some fundings to modernize our network. That's why we have a project called JAM, the Electricity Restoration and Modernization. Now, if you check around, you will find out we were operating on a 33 kVA line. But now, we are now at the standard of that is the world standard now, at 225. We are now beginning to operate from 225. And this 225 is coming all the way from Brikama to Jabang substation. There's a new primary substation in Jabang. Then moving to Kotu Tank. If Kotu Tank is just adjacent to Jawel, Manjai, or is it Manjai? Manjai Kotu intersection Johnson, where we have the big tank, you'll see a new building. Okay. That is what is going to take us from this on and off. Because what happened is, like, let's say QCell building here, the transformer supply in QCell is faulty. with this old system, we need to switch the whole area just to fix that problem. But with the new system, we will only isolate Q cell, fix the problem, others will not even realize it. Sometimes this on and off is not because an engine went off or no. It is happening because the network could not take it anymore. Sometimes we have almost like 89 to 90 megawatt of electricity, but we can only transmit 70, 74 because of the network is congested. Now that decongesting is taking place, almost the final phase was connecting the from Palmarima Johnson. This connection that should be done. So no, because we work also with the road authority because there's this road crossing. So that have been done. Now almost the underground cable laying is already on. So in the very, very near future, we'll be done with that. And perhaps we might even invite, we'll invite QTV to come and grace that occasion so that you have something to...
Well, I can tell you that I'm somebody who will be very, very keen because where I live on Coastal Road near Old Yundum. And
you have low voltage.
Well, I can say this on air. For the last 3 weeks, there have only been 4 nights when I've gone from my office to my house and found that we have light 4 nights in 3 weeks. So I'm definitely looking forward to
No, sure, because in fact, the area you live, most of the people living in that area used to have low voltage because, as we said, all these transformers were aging. But the good news is we've ordered about 52 transformers. And then the transformers that we have now are called the package transformers. Before, you know, these transformers we have, a madman can just walk to the transformer, touch it, and it's electrocuted. But the package one, if I mean the package one, means is sealed. It's in a container form. Even if you touch the body, nothing will happen. So now we have that, and then we are changing it gradually. So as I said, NAWEC at work, but we are also trying to modernize, not only trying to bring in, you know, give more electricity, but no, to modernize it to the standard. Because now, whatever we are doing is at the standards. You can reach anywhere in the world, you'll have the same standard. It's a 225 line running the whole of Africa, and now it is here in the Gambia. So, alhamdulillah.
So, speaking of access to electricity, I know that NAWEC is working on a project which is access to electricity by 2025. How far have you gone with that?
Maybe 68 to 70%. We are still on course. The 2025 target is still there. In fact, by 2024, 80-90 will be almost done, because by January we'll inaugurate the solar plant. You remember that? I think some time back. It's just a 1 year we said. So by January that is on target. The rural edification also, the 500 and 40 something villages we have. North Bank also, we have about 120. We have the West Coast at 230. So all those ones are already, as we speak, works have started. As we speak, works have already started and they are ongoing. And the contractors have all of them are given time frame to finish before that. So access to electricity, yes, it's going to be possible.
By 2025?
Inshallah, if everything is going the way it is as we speak now. Yes. You know, we are not only yearning for access to electricity 2025, but also giving adequate, you know, having electricity is one thing, but having electricity and go to bed and sleep, like, because you said on and off, this is what we want to make. We want to make sure this is history. And then, as I said, my managing director always said this, it's not a privilege for people, Gambian people, to have electricity. It's a right and a necessity. We are tasked by the Gambia government to make sure that we give that to the people. So, and that's what we are doing. That's why we are open to critics. I think we are the most criticized institution, but we are the most tolerant also. We take it from every corner, but this is helping us, because the more you ask, the more you criticize us, it helps. And this, from there, we will pick the good ones and move on. As I always said, we are not the best of the best, that's why we are in NAWEC. No. We are lucky to be there to serve, and then when the time comes, we'll go, somebody else will come. But before we go, we want to make sure we hand over the Gambian people the best at the end of 2025. Inshallah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And just say that two things. I think maybe NAWEC should consider having a TV or radio show on a regular basis to update the public, because this impacts all our lives. Whether you're in a home, a school, a shop, an office, it impacts you, and I think it'll be good. And I'm smiling at the 2025 date because
knowing that my village will have
Absolutely.
electricity.
well, all I will say that in Cabo Verde in 2025, the whole country will be 100% reliant on renewable energy. Wind and solar. They'll be the first country in the world. So there.
That is.
I was trying
and
to
then,
mention Cabo Verde, but
we may not be the second, third, but perhaps we may be part of the first five. I can tell you we are also young, because already we have 23 megawatt.
Sure.
We have a 150 megawatt solar plant also in Jarasoma that is also coming up.
Indeed.
They are now at the stage of contract awarding or whatever. We started with 50 gradually. So we will be there. And I'm sure we will follow Kevin. And also, yes, my managing director will hear this. It's important we have a regular show with you. I'm sure the two managements can definitely follow.
We hope so. We hope so.
Yes, for us, as you know, the communicate. I will carry this message.
Please do.
That Mr. Ade said.
Please do.
Thank you very much, Buba Badi, the Communications and Public Relations Supervisor at NAWEC. Thank you for coming. And viewers, we will now take a short break. When we return, the program continues with Sports War with Momodo Gajaga.
Step into the Espas Motors showroom for your luxurious name brand vehicle. Located along the Bertil Harding Highway, Espas Motors is the Gambia's authorized dealer for Chery, Kia, Ford, and now we bring you the new Peugeot model 3008 SUV. 18-inch alloy wheels, 216 inches high ground clearance. Step into the Espas Motors showroom for your luxurious name brand vehicle. Located along the Bertil Harding Highway, Espas Motors is the Gambia's authorized dealer for Chery, Kia, Ford, and now we bring you the new Peugeot model 3008 SUV. 18-inch alloy wheels, 216 inches high ground clearance, keyless entry system, start and stop button, rear parking assistance system with reverse camera, adaptive cruise control with speed limit, LED daytime running lights, front and side airbags, 8-inch HD touchscreen. Not to forget our exquisite Peugeot Landtrek double cabin pickup with 2.1-liter diesel engine, 6-speed manual transmission 4x4, hill descent control, LED daytime running lights. Espas Motors, the authorized dealer for Peugeot. Visit us today or call us on 35-22-222 or 353-4444.
Do your banking the smart way with the new Ajibank mobile app. Transfer money to any bank account in the Gambia. Top up airtime for all networks. Pay utility bills. Check your account balance and view mini statements. Request for ATM cards. Request for checkbooks and more in a single touch. So, do your banking in a smart way. Do your banking now with Ajibank mobile app. Every time is banking time. Ajibank, your investment partner. You asked for it, and QCell is giving it to you with our new and improved Sunyu Bundle Mega Promo. Now you can get more data at cheaper prices. Buy any of our bundle packages and enjoy massive discounts. Dial *303# and enjoy browsing on the network with the biggest coverage. Buy a 20 megabytes data bundle for as low as $7 and 50 bottles today, or purchase bigger bundles up to 20 gigabytes. Yes, that's right, 20 gigabytes of data at your fingertips. With our mega promo bundles, you can browse more, chat longer, and stay connected on the go, anytime, anywhere. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, we innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back. We now have come to the tail end of the program, which is the sports world with Mamadou Gajaga. Good morning, Gaj.
Good morning, Julde. It's a pleasure always to be here and talk about sports, my favorite event, or if you like, my favorite discipline.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And you have Tijan Jaite, Gambia Sports Ambassador, and a representative from the team.
Yes, Ibrahim Saidi.
Yeah, talk to us about sports. What's kicking?
Yes, what's kicking is something big, because these people in the studio are heroes. They went to represent the Gambia in Norway and became, heroes because they represented the country very well. Yeah. They played in the Norway Cup, which is a grassroots football competition and is one of the biggest in the world, if not the biggest. I will have to say it's the biggest grassroots football competition for young kids from the age of 16 and below. And these footballers went there, represented the Gambia, and won the trophy for the first time. They've been participating in it previously. It has produced some of the best players in the world, some of them very high names, and we will talk about them later. But first, gentlemen, welcome to the studio. Ibrahim Saidi is a player for the team. Welcome.
Yeah, thanks everyone, and thanks for this invitation. Yeah, we are really happy to be here today.
Beautiful. Gold medal.
Yeah,
Congratulations. Beautiful.
Norway Cup. Congratulations.
Fantastic, fantastic. And all thanks, JS, to Tijan Jaite, the Gambia Sports Ambassador. Tijan coordinated everything. Tijan, welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much. And Tijan, before you say anything, I have to, on record, my respect and admiration for you, for what you've done for sports in the Gambia.
Yeah.
Big, I mean, sports ambassador doesn't quite capture everything, but honestly, I'd just like to say for the world to hear that I really respect and admire what you do. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Anytime I see him, I remember Peru. 2005.
Yes, 2005 and then Canada 2007.
Yeah, that was it.
And we have to say Tijan, in as much as he hasn't played during his time at the Norway Cup, but he's somebody who played in Norway. He's professional football mainly for Brandbergen. He won the youngest player of the year on twice in succession. So obviously he's a big motivation. And Tijan, let's start with you first. The Norway Cup. Tell us something about it, because you were so keen about it to help these kids to be exposed at the international level, and you've done it successfully. So tell us a little about the Norway Cup.
Oh, thank you. The Norway Cup is one of the largest youth tournament in the world, and it's participated like more than 30,000 players participate in the tournament, and more than 2,000 teams participated. So, and it's a tournament that give youths a lot of exposure, and it give you to understand other cultures around the world, because you are meeting other countries who are coming from all over the world. So it is a amazing initiative by the Norwegian government, because this competition is supported by all of the people in Norway. Even when you arrive at the airport, if you talk with anybody, they know about this tournament.
Quite a very popular one. Well, so your reason for helping these players participate in the competition is to expose them, but it went way beyond that, winning the competition. How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels amazing. For me, it was more than what I was expecting, because I know that the boys, we prepared them and we selected them, in the right way. Because I want to give thanks to the studio here, the QCT and QCL group. You have been very helpful since my time. I have been appointed as sports ambassador. All my activities, you people come to cover it, and I'm very grateful for the exposure you have been giving me. And when when we are selecting the players, we have our base at Q City, free of charge. So for that, we are very, very grateful for that, for these boys so that we can give them a very equal playing field, so that everyone can show his talent. So the boys, the performance they make there was amazing. Especially when we won the semi-final. The game was so tough that, it was a very tense game. Yeah.
And I understand it went to penalties.
Yes. Okay. And we managed to win the the game, and then we went to the final. And the boys came there and performed amazing.
Fantastic. Yeah. Ibrahima, you're one of the players, won a gold medal. Tell us about how it feels to play in the Norway Cup for the first time and reaching the final, winning the competition.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah. Definitely, it is a great opportunity for everyone of us because this is what we expect from the beginning. Though it wasn't easy because we try to make sure that we keep training and also to show more discipline to our leaders because in fact that's the main key why we were able to achieve this. Yeah, because when we were training, so many things have been happening, but still we make sure that we work as a team and we work for the people who make sure we are in that position.
Let me jump in here because some of the matches that you played, you said you'll be surprised. They won 5-0. I think that one of them 6, one of them 4 as well. So high scoring, except of course everyone knows in the semi-final it's going to be tough. The final they won 3-2. How were you able to manage with these high score lines?
What we try to do was that anytime we play and we have a good game, we don't sit back and relax. We try to make sure that we adjust our efforts.
Go for more.
Because in fact, before we go, that's what they try to tell us. You don't need to feel too comfortable like you get everything. So you always need to work hard and push to make sure you get to that level. That's why we were able to achieve all this. Even before, I know the ambassador was not that much comfortable because normally what he said will be, I know you people will perform, but I don't expect you to win the trophy. So the mindset we have was that we will try and make sure we work as a team because we believe that when that exists, we will be able to get what we want. So we try to make sure that we work as a team, and every time we work harder. If we get one win, we will work for more to come. That's why anytime we score, that terms as an encouragement for us to work hard to make sure we get more goals. That's why we were able to have all that goals in every game.
Tijan, as Gajaga said, you've gone before with these guys. They've never come back with the trophy this time. But if I can, Ibrahima, you guys, when after the selection process, we talked about QCity, you must have gone there thinking, actually, we have a really good team. We can win this. I mean, going into, without being complacent or overconfident, did you guys think you stood a real chance of winning?
Yeah, of course, we have that confidence that when we go, we'll have something big. That was the spirit that we have even before going, because we know the preparation we have gone through. So if we are able to go and perform, we know what we can do, because normally it wasn't easy that playing in Europe for the first time, and it is our first experience also. But we try by all means to comply ourselves to make sure we get to that level.
Has your level of fitness helped you? Because Tijan was emphasizing that when I went there for the final training session, he was saying that you guys need to be fit because you are going to play a fitness competition. You played 9 matches, 6 matches in 9 days. So, which is very, very tough. How does that help?
Yeah, definitely the fitness really helped us. Because if you look at it, we play 9 games in 6 days. So someday we will have 2 games in 1 day. Yeah, so, and most of those games are not easy. You have to play with people that you know that they are born with those kind of talents, and they go to school to learn about football. So you also have to make sure that you rely on your chances and apply what you have trained, because that's always what we do. What we do is we apply what we always train on the training ground. The training was very hard, definitely, especially in the latter parts, because at that stage we train in the morning at Manjai. After we will have a marathon from Manjai to Joswan, where we will go and rest. So we rest maybe around 1 hour. You go back to the field for 3 o'clock training. So it wasn't easy that. So everybody was complaining, and we try to make sure that we do this for our own people, because we go there to represent Gambia, and this is what everybody was expecting.
Someone is asking whether it's the same country or different countries that you won these games.
Yeah, like the different countries, the teams that you played against, because every country selects a team. So how many countries that you played against?
No, we normally meet Norwegian teams because they normally beat the other countries. Yes, because this team, especially the one we play in the semi-final, they were together since when they were 7 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, you know, so we play teams with strong
opposition.
I mean, my question going forward is that, you know, Gambia seems to have a really brilliant bunch of talented national team level, under 21, under 17. We're talking about these guys going and winning for the first time at the Norway Cup. How do we harness this and make sure we don't lose these really, really talented players, keep them focused? I know we talked about exposure because they played in the Norway Cup, but how do we build on this, really, is what I guess what I'm asking.
This is a very good question. And when we came back, that was my thought process. What can we do to make sure that this is like I told them that I want them to be like a school where, like, when they realize their dream to become a professional, it's like their graduation.
Yeah, quite.
So this is the mindset we have now. We have put things in place that we are going to try to implement so that we realize this dream.
Because sometimes
it's very important.
As Gaj says, you were going to mention some of the famous names from that have taken part in this competition, but you know, sometimes people play well and then they kind of fade away, and it would be a tragedy if these guys didn't build upon this success. Really.
Exactly. Yeah. And some of those famous names, obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Of course, former Manchester United player and manager.
Yes, and manager. Idrissa Gana Gueye is another player. You know, you talk about other players as well. John Keru. Who doesn't know him? He was a fantastic footballer.
Gambian father.
Exactly. Hamza Barry, Gambia. Yusuf Njai, Tijan's own brother. He also plays for the national team. He played in Portugal not long ago for Boa Vista. Now he moved to the UAE. He's playing in the Pro League there. So some players really had their time and then went to on to become great. So we want at least some of these players also to get to that level as well.
Speaking of that level, what's the next big thing? What are we expecting from this team?
I think it's the same. It's like the question you asked and what you just asked me. And now the idea is how we can maximize this opportunity that these young boys have. Because for me, my idea is I don't want like maybe 1 or 2, 3, 4 players to become professional. My dream is to have like maybe all these guys to make it in their professional, you know, in their career, to become a professional footballer. Because the idea is this, like not everybody can start in the top. For example, some needs to start and graduate, and they go up. You know. So we are putting things in place through my contacts to try to see how best we can do all these things.
Do you have any upcoming match competition? Or
Yes. Right now we have a lot of invitations for other competitions in Europe because of this performance. Yes, because you know, Denmark, Portugal, Spain, everywhere, really amazing.
So Tijan, just finally before we signed off, you had support because you didn't do it alone. Obviously, you partnered even with the Gambia government to make sure that you get your air tickets and things like that to get to the competition. Maybe if you have any word to you want to send it to the government or the partners who support it.
And sponsors.
Thank you. I really want to thank the Gambia government first, and the head of state, the president of the Republic of the Gambia, and the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And the Ministry of Foreign Affairs too, because they help us in the visa process, and the Ministry of Finance for the facilitation of the financing for the tickets.
And I have to say that all of us celebrated that all of you came back.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's
Because
another
I know what happened with the Sierra Leone team.
Exactly.
Yes.
So none of them
Obviously.
came back.
It was in Norway.
Yeah, they went. Yeah. No, in fact, they went for one in Finland.
Finland, yes,
yeah.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
And none of them came back.
Yeah,
Yes.
none of them came back.
Yeah,
Was it under 17?
Under
or-
17,
It was
and they were
Yes.
brilliant team. They were
Imagine.
very good team.
Yeah.
Very good team. Some of them ended up playing professional football in Finland,
You are right.
but none of them came back.
Came back.
In fact,
Yeah.
one came back, and you know the one who came back? His father was Minister of Sports.
Sports.
He was the only one who came back.
Came back,
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Very
Guys,
interesting.
thank you, Ibrahim and Tijan. Thank you
you so
for
much.
coming.
Thank you.
Guys, ñu bàyyi la rek nga rafetlu.
Yes, it's always a pleasure to come here to talk about sports, especially football. These are young talents, and we hope and pray for them that they realize their dream of becoming professional footballers. And thank you, Julte. That's it from me.
Thank you. Mr. Adi?
I'm a big football fan, of course. I love many sports, but football is and always has been number one. And so, as I've been saying to Tijan, I will be chasing you to make sure that these guys build upon this. But as you said, we've always covered most, if not everything that you've done. And so we have great expectations. But once again, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. And we wish you all the best. Well, viewers, I'm afraid that's all we got time for. But before I go, I have to say who sponsored my glow. My glow today is proudly sponsored by Njai Charahol Markets. He's located at Serekunda, and if you want to contact him, you can contact him at 59107855, 59107855. He's the one who sponsored my outfit, and he's there to support women. Monica di Dolel Jigeni ak fum neka di the second cohort of school am bi gaay ñu ngi def registration. So bëggee bokk ci school bi rek mun nga dem Serekunda wala nga contact ko den di nga bokk ci jigéen ñoo xam ne ñoom moom la nekk di support, moom la nekk di dooleel. And seen graduation bi is on the 10th of September. ñu ngi oo ñëpp pour ñu dem foofu noonu dooleen jaay support guys si donation bi currently ñu ngi si mbiri donation pour guys support ko ñu mun a def seen graduation bi si jàmm. So ku ko bugg a contact rek mun nga ko contact again 59107855, 59107855 ba su ñëwee suba incha allah si beneen edition yi This Morning programme. Bye bye.